So Thursday, the 17th December 2020. And as usual, I'm here with you all tonight again, sharing some thoughts and giving you some information about the teachings of the Buddha. And first of all, thank you, everyone, those who've been supportive and continue generous donations towards the floor. And today also got a few members have transferred some money towards the flooring, and thank you everyone. And we had this is today the first day after a while we were invited to one of our members' house for the blessings chanting and dedicating merit to the father who passed away, and just had a funeral today. So it's a sad moment. In the meanwhile, as I mentioned yesterday, one of our members' mother passed away, and we had a special chanting last night. So life is uncertain, and I've been contemplating on this the whole week, and sometimes it feels, it makes me feel like very sad, and particularly this afternoon when I had to give a talk, just a reflection on this departure of a lovely father. And when I was talking about this death, and this, losing someone who we really love, and I felt like I was almost, out of the words to express, because I have experienced it. I have lost my mother, my father, and ever since I feel this pain and this loss of our loved ones. I remember before my parents died, and I always feel like, how can I express, or how can I feel that pain and this bereavement and this sadness and the sorrow of losing someone who we loved one. And it was completely different feelings, and I didn't have that experience of emotion when someone, who we loved one passed away. But after my parents died, and suddenly I realized that, wow, this is so interesting to experience this loss of someone who we love one, someone who we love, and particularly the parents, and they have brought up us in this world, and they have looked after and cared and gave us a good education, good support throughout the time. And although sometimes we live so far away, and yet, as long as they are still alive, and there is a feeling of, you know, they are still there. I can contact and I can talk, like that. But very moment when you lose the one who you love, then suddenly that gives you some form of loss, and form of a hollowness, and it's like a numbness in your heart, and that generates. So in this situation, whenever we have something like these, all what we can do is to rely on the close ones, close friends or relatives, or our own neighbors, giving a comfort and feeling, and making sure that there are someone behind you. And the second is, there is no quick fix to this hurt. It takes time, and gradually you will be able to overcome, regardless of that. Okay, so and this is again simpler because the attachment that we have developed over the period of a time of a being, closeness. And obviously, for the parents, we are born, we have this great bond between, as a child and as a parent. Obviously, and again, over the period of a time, it just develops and become so important bonds that binds together. And that's basically, it's simply because the value and the attachment and the grasping that we have spent with them over the period of a time. And that's why, yesterday when I was talking about the sermon on a fire, basically the fire is, burning everything, and the fire burns everything, whatever it is, and whether we like it or not, the fire constantly burning things along the way. If fire is not there, fire element is not there in our body, then it would not be digested, our food that we eat. And because of the fire, it's burning our life every single second, and then even every minute and hours. So it's basically second is killing a minute, minute is killing an hour is killing a day, and the day is killing the week, and week is killing the month, and month is killing the years. And that's how, it's burning every single day, and that's how we become a decay and old, you know so. And this is, in a way, whatever we come to contact with things, we are burning by the greed, hatred, and delusion. But once we know that everything that comes to contact with us through the six senses, and not knowing that, creates something more, into the forms, and attachment and grasping, wanting to have more or don't want to have more. So once we have understood that all the problems that we are facing in our day-to-day life, basically because of what we see and want, what we hear and we think is right and we think is good, simply entertaining our senses, and then, and we basically drawn into the sensual pleasure, and forgetting that one day we have to die. And with this, when we see that the six senses are, once it comes to contact with the objects, that produces the feelings, and that feeling is the root or the means towards our identification, and memories and perception, and then how we go on into the creation. Now, whereas the very moment when we have understood that whatever we see things, and perceiving that these are always causing a trouble to us, and then at that time what happens is, it helps us to not to be uh, enchanted with. We will not be enchanted by, seeing a beautiful things, or looking only for the beautiful things, or wanting to hear a nice words, or nice songs, so and so. But you feel this passion, and this, when there is no passion for it, it basically, we will be in a state of knowing as they are as it is, and this is absence of a passion. So, and that's a free, the passion is free. And then when the when it is free, what happens is that aware of that freedom, yeah, and we will be able to experience that freedom, that wow, I am no longer bound by what I want from what I have seen or what I have heard. You're completely detached from it. Yeah? And then with that, what happens is that you are not creating new forms. You're not generating or proliferating, like you become a creator of your own future. It's called a sankhara. You are not creating furthermore. You basically stopped the creation. And that's again, I normally talk during the meditation sessions that this is how you end your long life in rebirth after rebirth in the samsara. And that's the way when you realize that what's going on and understanding this um, right moment and stopping there, well, basically, you are ending the rebirths. And if you can end all this defilements that coming through the senses, whenever the senses comes to contact, and then it generates the feeling and wanting and desire and the consciousness and these things. Once we have fully understood that these can be end the moment when our eye sees an object, we become a conscious of it as they are, and no proliferating on that, no exaggeration, no commentaries, no storytelling. And then basically that ends an attainment of the liberation. And there is a the word Buddha used normally is the holy life has been lived. So basically, you have fulfilled your journey as a human being or as a person, as a being in this lifetime. Now you have attained liberation. There is no birth, no rebirth, no aging, no death, no sorrow, no lamentation. So you have ended the cycle of the birth and the death. Yeah? And this is what needs to be done by each and individual, all of us. That's what I normally call that we are all born to perfect our perfections. The moment when we fully perfected our all the perfections, then we are a perfect one. Yeah? So that is the arhat. Yeah? That is the becoming an enlightened one, freeing yourself from all the problems and this suffering. Right? And this is what happens is that, and there is nothing that needs to be done. You have done complete. There's all the jobs has been done, and all you are there is as an exemplar, one who had lived this in a noble way and have attained, and you're simply there to uh, as a place where people can come and get the more merits by doing something with giving. And after this teachings, all 1000 and all 1003 ascetics become an arahats and become the teacher and become the disciples of the Buddha. And with them, what happened? With them, Buddha went on the journey to the Bimbisara, the king Bimbisara. And now this is again, when the day when the Buddha, as a prince, he left the palace, and then he went on begging food. And one of the discourses he mentioned that it was so disgusting food at that time. The first food which was offered by villagers can be very raw and not well cooked, some sort of like that food. And then when he tried to eat, he realized that this food is so disgusting. And he looked at it and told to himself that, okay, you are no more prince. You have given up your princely life. Now on, you are an ascetic. If you can't eat this bowl of food, then better go back Yeah? So better go back to the palace life. So he forced himself to eat from this bowl, and he ate. And along the way, when he was begging food in the Rajagaha, the place where the king Bimbisara was the king, realizing that this ascetic is not a simple ascetic. He has got some specialities, and so I think in a few months ago I have explained about it, that how he came to contact the Bimbisara. And after that, when King Bimbisara came to meet the Buddha, an ascetic, Prince Ascetic, King Bimbisara was so impressed and even offered a half of the land to let him govern. But the Buddha, he didn't accept it, but he said, I am on the way to search the truth. At that time, then King Bimbisara told, or begged or request to the Prince Ascetic that if you find, or if you found the truth, then please come back and teach me too. And the Buddha, he kept that promise. So kept that promise and then went to the Rajagaha to see the King Bimbisara, the kingdom of King Bimbisara. And now here is the beauty of the story. The story is that in the Rajagaha, the kingdom of King Bimbisara, uh, at that time, people worshipped ascetics, those who have attained a supernatural powers or have behaved very differently, and particularly someone who is worshipping a fire and well received, well received veneration in the whole city, a whole country, and having this 1,000 disciples. Uruvela Kassapa and these three ascetics were well respected in the Rajagaha country. Okay, where the king Bimbisara was the king. And now here, the Buddha, who was newly kind of graduate or kind of enlightened one, no one knows much, only how many months? Just a couple of months, 9 months, before about 6 or 7 months time. This Buddha comes along with their respected ascetics and well respected, well venerated, the leader of their fire worshipper, Uruvela Kassapa. Now, having heard that the Buddha came along with the 1,000 disciples, King Bimbisara, wanted to see him, King Bimbisara. So immediately he went to see the Buddha, so along with the large group of Brahmin householders. So in that on a grove, where he respectfully salutes the Buddha. And again, you can't ask everyone to pay respect. You can't ask everyone to worship you. It is similar to here in our center too. When people come, those who have faith in the Buddha, they will pay respect to the Buddha. Those who don't have, they will sit. They just come in and take a seat, or sometimes they just follow, imitating the someone is paying respect to the Buddha and someone they don't. So similarly, at that time, what happens was that some of the Brahmin householders paid homage to the Blessed One or the Buddha, and then some exchanged greetings with him, and some extended their hands in reverential solutions, and some pronounced their names and their clans. And obviously, telling the name and a clan is one of the very important in the Indian culture, even that time of the Buddha. Even nowadays, when you say that my name is John, and they immediately will ask your clan, or basically your one varna. And this is how you will be categorized into a different caste system. And this is why there is a problem with these clans. And when you are expressing that this is my clan, is basically you are demonstrating how noble my clan is. And then this is how it was measured. And here, this is the reason why nowadays, from untouchables or low caste uh, from India, they are marching towards the conversion to Buddhism. And although they convert to Buddhism, they still have the surname attached to it. And my suggestions to them been doing it, that they should change their surname as well, so that they will be giving up this so-called caste system. And like that. And someone just sat down, and someone came and silently observe what's going to happen like that. But obviously, as I said in the story, is that these three ascetics were well respected in the community, in the country of Rajagaha, even the king Bimbisara. So he also respected all these three leaders of fire worshippers. Now, having seen these two, one who is newly or a graduate, and another, these three ascetics well respected during that time, with this, there was a confusion that arose in so many people, that between the Buddha and Urvalakasapa, um, who is the teacher and who is the student. And this obviously to everyone's mind, it does occur. Someone who you know, and then suddenly someone you do not know is there. Then you have a confusion, who is who. And here at the center, we have faced a lot. Sometimes we have a senior monk, and then I have to sit beside him, and I pay respect to the senior monk. And then sometimes our members feel confused. Oh, this is our Achan, and why our Achan is paying another Achan, like that. And sometimes, a monk can be very old, but their ordination is less than me. Then they will sit behind me, and then they will pay respect to me. And then someone, why he's so old? Why he's paying respect to Achan? Like that. So this confusion arises, which is common if you don't know. And a similar thing happened to the king Bimbisara, along with the rest of all other Brahmins and the members, the community who came to the Buddha to pay respect. And having understood their unstable and conversation, then the Buddha said to the Kassapa that, "Oh, monks from Uruvela, what made you abandon all your faith offering and sacrifice to the fire?" And this is how the conversation begins. And then the Buddha said, if you have no basically after having asked by the Buddha as a teacher and a master, the Uruvela Kassapa says that sacrifice are said to procure sights, sounds, taste, and other enjoyments. Yeah? through through what you have taught us. And this is referring to the Aditya Pariyaya Sutta that I explained yesterday, and through the Sutta discourse, saying, through what you have said, we have learned that, to know that these are as defilements and fetters, and we haven't enlightened yet. And so after hearing your teaching, we give up all our faith and offering and a sacrifice to the fire. And then Buddha further asks that, if your heart finds no delight in the five sense pleasures of a sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch, What sense object in this world of devas and humans still delight in you? Uh, and then, further on, this Urvala Kasapa, saying, "Glorious Buddha, glorious." Because I have distinctively perceived this so-called great achievement of Nibbana, which has the characteristics of a peace and freedom from all the attachment. I no longer enjoy offering sacrifice, nor do I take delight in a daily practice of fire worship. Huh? So this is how the Uruvela Kassapa said to the Buddha in front of the king Bimbisara and along with all other members. And after he said so, and then Uruvela Kassapa just rised in the middle of the crowd and bowed down 3 times to the Buddha, and then the king and along the all other members of the community realized that Buddha is the great person, and this Uruvela Kassapa along with his fellow students are the students now on. So in that moment, so Buddha was ready to give teachings to the king Bimbisara and the fellow the citizens. So I end here for tonight's talk, and then tomorrow I will be coming back again, continuing from the Bimbisara stories. So along the way, we will see what comes on. So this is now I'm focusing on the life of the Buddha and teachings along the way that comes. So thank you, and in a few moments' time, we're going to have evening chanting and guided meditation. You're most welcome to join with us. Until then, good night and thank you. See you shortly. Sadhu.